Okay, okay. I've been trying to figure out a review to Stoner. Try to get myself going with a review to Stoner. I think there is a review with for Stoner in me just because I really enjoyed the book so much. But I have getting getting the wherewithal to sit down for 15 minutes and just sort of rough out a couple of ideas has, for whatever reason, been beyond me. So let me rough out. This isn't the review of Stoner. This is the start of my prep work for Stoner. Stoner, a novel by John Williams. What are the things that you need to know? That it was published in 1965. That John Williams published a variety of other novels. I don't know if it has a little thing somewhere. Thing. Um, the back of it really kind of things like, William Stoner is born at the end of the 19th century in a dirt poor Missouri farming family. Sent to the State University to study agronomy, he instead falls in love with English literature, embraces a scholar's life, so different from the hard-scrabble existence that he has known. Yet as the years pass, Stoner encounters a succession of disappointments. Marriage into a proper family estranges him from his parents. His career is stymied. His wife and daughter turn coldly away from him. A transforming experience of new love ends under threat of scandal. Driven ever deeper within himself, Stoner rediscovers the stoic silence of his forebears and confronts an essential solitude. John Williams' luminous and deeply moving novel is a work of quiet perfection. Stoner emerges not only as an archetypical American, but as an unlikely existential hero, standing like a figure in a painting by Edward Hopper in stark relief against an unforgiving world. Yeah, which is, that really does a really good job of summing up the novel. Does Stoner rediscover the stoic silence of his forebears and confronts an essential solitude? Uh, I think he confronts essential solitude in the sense that we all are alone and we all die alone. And to varying degrees, we are isolated. We can be isolated figures. And at the same time, we are very much social beings. And there's something else that's going on there, and that we hunger for connection. And his love of English literature is in some ways it's about connecting. It's what's that? There's some line from somebody. It's always connect, always connect. It's that's also an essential truth. Um, um, yeah, if I'm gonna, the number one selling point of this novel to me is that William Stoner is a reader. He is somebody who loves literature, and I would give quotes of Stoner and his vibrations, his thing of like that is the through line of his inner life is that reading. So yeah, that's number one. Number two might be, this could be seen as just a really depressing novel about a guy who's stymied and fails in his professional life, in his love life, and you know, dies. But it's actually a quiet triumph. This is about a guy who is triumphantly himself, um, throughout this novel, uh, and is tested in many ways, but stays really true to himself throughout it, and is admirable for that. Um, um, yeah, yeah. Um, I think of criticisms of the novel. The character of his wife Edith is both accurate and true, but also I kind of waver on how she is portrayed. Whether I think um, Williams does a good job of trying to kind of, while this is all from very much kind of Stoner's point of view, is good at uh, showing other people and their stances where they are in life, and having sympathy for a character like Edith, who has also been boxed in by her upbringing, um, and doesn't have the escape that Stoner does. Stoner being raised by parents who were completely trapped into subsistence assistance farming, which basically ground them down to nothing, at least from what Stoner can see, and escaping that into a wider world. Though paradoxically, what he does is he finds um, that's and yeah, into a wider world. Now, that's the other part of this novel. It is a campus novel. Stoner finds university life, and he stays there. He stays there. He stays in one institution. And there's, at the points in this novel where it's maybe brought up like, well, you could leave here and go somewhere else. It's like that's not an option to Stoner. It's very much a campus novel. It very much has like kind of the politics of like the English department of the university wider in itself, and he falls victim to that. He makes a an enemy in Holly Lomax. Um, and that's probably the other thing I would bring up in here, is that we have the portrayal of Edith. Like if you've got people who might be considered the antagonists of this very low key novel, it's Edith in the woman he marries very foolishly in his personal life, but is him making an enemy of Holly Lomax, this disabled English scholar who becomes head of the English department, who takes great affront when he slams one of Holly's students who is also disabled, and using that kind of imagery of the kind of the very kind of Stoner versus these kind of disabled antagonists is slightly squicky, slightly like are we using physical disabilities to represent are we using that to represent moral or worldly disablement in the book? There's also just the idea in of the university as a refuge, as like a monastery. This is where those who can't exist on the outside world come for refuge, and definitely seen as a refuge there. Other things to go on. It's like he has a love affair with a younger woman who is a graduate student. She's not a direct student to him, but it's funny. I really kind of rooted for that love affair, even though you could see it as the most cliched older professor has a love affair with a younger graduate student. It's like one step up from being an actual student to him, but it's not crucially. And I mean, they have a very mutual, equal love, even though she is the one that you can kind of argue has the most fallout. She's the one who has to leave, not him, as their love affair falls victim to kind of like, threat of scandal. She's the one who has to kind of leave, where, I mean, they both have the wound of having to part from each other, and that is strictly a professional threat. Like Edith was not interested at all, didn't care at all that he was having an affair. Their marriage had been physically loveless for a long time. It's kind of cool how Williams actually how Stoner coming out of that actually develops more of an affection for Edith, and maybe she for him. Even though they in a lot of ways still remain fundamentally apart from each other. So yeah, I've got all these kind of general thoughts about Stoner whirling around in my head. Talking them out a bit is a good thing. And I'll try and jot some of this down and organize it in a way that I can actually turn it into a review. Definitely getting quotes about Stoner as a reader are the big thing in this novel. Just also how he is, I guess. Have to think about that. All right, more videos later.